So what are the current therapies for metastatic melanoma? So I'm going to confine my discussion really around that group of patients because that's what I do. This has been what the cornerstone of treatment for 50, 60 years of metastatic melanoma is using chemotherapy. And this first drug, dacarbazine or DTIC, has been used commonly for 30 years in the management of patients with metastatic disease. And really, it's been disappointing. It's never been shown to make people's lives live longer. The response to that only occurs about 15 to 30%, and really has been disappointing. It certainly got its share of side effects, although they're usually quite manageable. But the response of the tumor to this drug has been disappointing, but it's all we've had. Temozolomide is a cousin of DTIC, and basically it's an oral form of DTIC. So they don't need the IVs, but temozolomide basically is the same compound with associated similar kinds of responses and similar side effects. And temozolomide is not even available in many provinces across the country because it's not been shown to be better than dacarbazine, and it's a little bit more expensive, so it hasn't been readily available to melanoma patients. Immunotherapy, now this has been around for quite a long time too. Interleukin-2, of course, was a breakthrough drug in the mid-90s where we use high-dose interleukin-2, and somehow, we don't know how, it stimulates the immune system to attack the melanoma cells. Again, the number of responses were disappointing, but the big advantage is if you responded, you could have a complete response, which means all the tumor disappear, and it could go away for a long, long time, and we have many patients who are actually cured because they got high-dose interleukin-2. It's got a lot of side effects with it. It's difficult to give, and many centers across the country haven't even been giving it. We send them to specialized areas, centers to give this treatment. But basically, it only helped about 1 in 10 who got the treatment itself. So it certainly was an advantage that we are curing some patients with interleukin-2, but we had to treat a lot of people and put up with a lot of side effects in order to gain that benefit. Interferon is also an immunotherapy. Again, we don't know how it works. It's a protein that your body's immune system normally produces, and we give it back, and it can cause tumor shrinkage. But the main role of interferon really has been prevention of patients who have regional disease in coming back. So it's more a preventive treatment. We don't quite know how it works, and it doesn't work in everybody, but some patients with high-risk disease, we give them interferon, and it definitely improves the overall chances of beating the disease. Interferon, again, is also a very tough treatment. It's given over a year. It requires, at least for the first month, it requires daily IV infusions, and then the patients have to give themselves needles 3 times a week for 11 months, and has lots of side effects, including profound fatigue. So again, interferon, it has shown that it has improved the lot of some people's situation, but it's certainly not been the answer, and it's been disappointing. And then ipilimumab is another immunotherapy, which I will be talking about later, which is completely changing the waterfront in terms of what immunotherapy can do. And then the final thing is some targeted therapies. I'm going to talk about one in particular, and this is the area that's brought the biggest hope to the whole field over these last 2 years, and what I'll be sharing with you today. So this just shows you the lack of progress we've made in treating metastatic disease over the decades. So if we look at the top line, this is Canadian approval. So DTIC back in 1970. 20 years later, or 30 years later, temozolomide was finally approved, but it was only different than DTIC in that it was an oral formulation. 1995, interferon started being widely used for prevention, not treating patients with metastatic disease, but prevention of patients with high-risk disease. And then IL-2 in 98 came out, and again, it was only used in selected centers across our country. So that's been it in terms of drug development over 40 years. And this just compares and contrasts the two main approaches. The chemotherapy is basically where you use, a bazooka gun to hit the target, and you just hope it's going to work. Immunotherapy is a little bit more precise in that it targets the immune system, but how it stimulates the immune system to attack the cancer, we don't really know or understand. They have differing side effects, they have differing efficacies, but basically have been the two pillars of our approach to managing patients with advanced disease.